So when talking about sleeves, I thought I'd start with perfect fit, like inner sleeves, I guess some people call them. I only really have experience with two different brands, which are the KMC Perfect Fit and these Dragon Shield Perfect Fit Smoke inner sleeves. So I started using the KMCs first, and now I've switched over to use the Dragon Shields. I didn't have any real issues with the KMCs themselves. I didn't have issues with them splitting or sizing inconsistencies, even where some are slightly smaller than others can happen from time to time with certain brands. I didn't find that to be an issue with these KMCs. Basically, the only reason I switched to the Dragon Shield is because they have these smoke ones. I believe the KMCs do a set of sleeves, perfect fit sleeves like this, where one side is clear and the other side is completely matte black, but those weren't the ones that I had. Also, generally I found it easier to get hold of the Dragon Shields. They're just, I find they're in stock in more different stores, and you can often quite often find deals on them because of that. You'll find a store that's having a sale and you're able to get some of these for a bit cheaper than you would the KMCs. Which is the main reason I made the switch. Is I bought a pack just to check that they were okay, and once I tried them out and I liked them, I've stuck with them ever since. I've just got a few more packs of these. To point out, I don't always double sleeve my decks. It's only ones that I know that I'm going to be using for a while, or depending what kind of sleeves they're in. There are some sleeves that I don't find double sleeving to be super important, but I guess I'll get into that a bit when I talk a bit more about sleeves. But no, the reason I started using these smoke sleeves is because the main kind of sleeves I like are these Ultimate Guard. I've got two cards here. This one is in the KMC Perfect Fit inside of as the inner sleeve. They've got the same outer sleeve. This one here has the Dragon Shield Smoke sleeves. In terms of legibility, because obviously adding an extra layer of plastic kind of in between the card and kind of can affect your ability to kind of see it and read it. It can make it a bit blurry. There's no real difference I find with either of these. It's not like one's clearer than the other. But the main reason, I was starting to say, is if we look at the back of this one that's in the KMC, you can, I'm hoping it's going to come across on camera, but you can see the back of the card through the sleeve. Obviously this is a leader, which you'd never put in this type of sleeve generally, but yeah, I thought it'd be easier to kind of see through an actual image as opposed to a regular card back. So for proper tournaments, having sleeves where you can see the back of the card is actually not allowed, just in case people want to mark certain cards in different ways so that they can tell what card is which, from the back. So a lot of tournaments, a lot of official tournaments will ban people from using any kind of sleeves where they have to, or where they have the ability to see the back of the card through. Whereas these Dragon Shield Smokes, you can see here that there's just no ability to see the back of the card there. That added layer of I guess take it all the way out so you can see on that side it's perfectly clear, whereas on this side it's kind of mostly opaque. You can still see through when it's not inside of another sleeve, which could come in handy in certain cases. If for some reason you wanted to be able to take it out of the sleeve and look at the back. For some reason outside of a game, obviously. Again, obviously this is just an issue because of the outer sleeves that I like, and particularly the colours that I kind of prefer to have them in. My two kind of preferred colours with these ones are the yellow and the orange, which both have the issue of being able to see the card through in clear perfect fit sleeves. I was going to say the KMCs, but you can get Dragon Shield that are clear on both sides and they'd have the same issue. So that's why I started using these smoke sleeves, is so that I don't have to, when I'm going to a tournament, re-sleeve a whole deck into like fully opaque sleeves. I can just keep using the ones that I like, that I think have a good like shuffle feel, I guess. And I guess that's a good point to start talking about the outer sleeves that I use. So in terms of outer sleeves, the main ones that I like to use are these Ultimate Guard Matte Supreme sleeves. These are some that I got prizes for the regional that I entered a month or two ago. It was the only box I still had on hand of these. Come in packs of 80 and they tend to cost not very much. A few pound for a pack of 80. So here I have the orange ones. This is my Mecha deck. And I have them in the Smoke Dragon Shields that I was just talking about. The reason I use these ones is I just really like the way they feel when I shuffle them. I feel like they have like just enough resistance to where they don't just, you put your deck down and it doesn't like slide all over the place, but there's not too much resistance to where it feels like a real chore to kind of shuffle your deck. They strike a nice balance, in my opinion. So like I say, these are the main ones I use. Just generally most of my decks I'll have sleeved up in these. The one issue, well, there's more than one issue I've had with these, but they're not severe enough issues to where it makes me want to stop using these sleeves in particular. So the first one is the front can be kind of glary in, especially on camera, which is an issue for me. Obviously that's not necessarily going to be an issue for you. Just recently when I've been filming some of my games at my locals, when I use these sleeves, it's very hard to see the kind of front of the card once it's put down on the table, just because of the overhead kind of fluorescent lights and the angle of the camera and the angle of the camera actually doesn't matter. I get glare on them no matter where I put the camera in relation to the cards, but yeah, so that is an issue for specifically if you're interested in like recording the games for like YouTube and stuff. Could also be an issue with the camera, but I don't think it is. And the other issue I have, I can find it here now, I just noticed this the other day, a few days ago when I was playing some games with this deck at my locals. So I'm just going to take a second here and pick out some of the ones where I can see it. So that Mecha deck there is 60 cards, and here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 cards where it's more noticeable on some than others, but this upper right, I guess upper left corner is starting to come apart. It's like splitting. So that is the one issue I have noticed. These, more than any other sleeves that I've used, seem the most likely to kind of break in the upper corners like this. Let me go. This one's particularly bad. Hopefully you'll be able to see that. I think the reason it's in the upper right specifically is because when I shuffle, I kind of cradle the cards in my left hand and kind of shuffle them in with my right, so I think it's where they're catching as they're going in between. That might just be an issue with the way I shuffle. I'm maybe a bit heavy with, and a bit forceful maybe sometimes with my cards, so that is why I'm going to have to re-sleeve all of these. I mean, it's more of a pain of the time that it's going to take for me to like re-sleeve, and the fact that I have to like always have an extra couple of sleeves on hand so that I can re-sleeve my deck, say in the middle of a tournament, if I start to notice that a few cards have starting to fray. Because money wise the sleeves aren't super expensive, so I'm not like buying a new set of sleeves every week or anything like that. And to be fair, like I was saying, that's happened the most with these sleeves. That's like also because these are the sleeves I use the most, probably. That has that's obviously a factor. Like maybe if I was using another brand of sleeve just as often as I use these Ultimate Guard ones, then I'd notice the same kind of thing. I can only really give you what my experience has been, and my experience has been that this happens every few weeks, maybe 6 to 8 weeks. I'll notice a couple of cards at least have started to kind of fray, and I need to go through and change them. But like I say, of a 60 card deck, it was 10 this time, so that's what? Well, that's the 6th of the deck. It needs to be re-sleeved now. I like these Ultimate cards, I like the way they feel, but they are maybe a bit fragile in my experience. And obviously, as I was saying before with the Perfect Fit sleeves, some of the colours, like these orange ones here, if this wasn't in this Dragon Shield Smoke, in fact I'll take it out, put it in here, you can see the back of the card through. So those are the two main issues I've had with these sleeves from using them. Is for tournament play you need some kind of inner sleeve, some kind of that adds opacity to the back of the cards. But again, that's only an issue with certain colours like these. I'm not sure what it was called, but these ones here, this like blue, almost green, kind of halfway in between colour. Let's say I got a stack of random leaders off to the side here. If I stick this Bulma in here, like we were looking at before, that does not come through on this colour or some of the darker colours. I believe at some point I got a set of black, and they don't show through either. And I also got another set of dark blue, and they don't show through on those ones either. So that's maybe something you just need to like check beforehand if you can. If you know somebody who uses these sleeves, maybe you could ask them to take a look at if you can see the back of the cards through them or not. But yeah, those are the main sleeves I like. Again, like I was saying, I mean, they do their job of like actually protecting the card, and like they feel okay going back and forth over the mat. When I first started playing, I was using the Dragon Shield matte white sleeves. I'm not sure where they are at the moment, otherwise I would kind of bring them on camera to show you. Those I had an issue where, I'm just checking this box that I've got here of sleeves. Nope, none in here. It's just more of like the orange and yellow Ultimate cards, and as well as a few of the other sleeves I'm going to be talking about in a minute. Oh, so wait, what ones are these? Oh, never mind. So yeah, I had some So I had some Dragon Shield white matte sleeves. I did not like the shuffle feel on them. They felt way too like there was too much resistance when you shuffled. I felt like I was really forcing the cards to kind of go in between the way I shuffle. I quite often will do like take half of the cards and like try and drop them in between, and I like these Ultimate cards because I can just kind of have a very loose grip and kind of just place them in between and just let go, and they will fall through. Whereas with the Dragon Shields, I felt like if I tried this, they would be stuck like that, and I'd have to really, really push them down, which I just didn't like the feel of. It just over the course of like a full day of playing games with a deck sleeved up like that, you just really would start to actually hurt my hands. I say hurt your hands, obviously. Maybe you've got stronger hands than I have. But yeah, I feel like really like I was getting cramps almost in my fingers from having to like push down on the cards to kind of get them back into place. Whereas these, like I say, very nice shuffle feel on them. So that's why I would not recommend those Dragon Shields. Obviously, again, if you know somebody who uses those Dragon Shields, I know there are a lot of people that kind of swear by Dragon Shield matte sleeves. you can maybe ask to try one of their decks and try shuffling it just to feel it for yourself before you go buying them. But I can't recommend them the same way that I would with the Ultimate Guards. I think I would recommend these to people, but again, it's personal preference of like, I like the way they feel on the shuffle. So one of the other sets of sleeves I most often use are these. Let me get them. Here I have my King Cold deck all sleeved up in them, and it is these Final Fantasy trading card game sleeves. So I've not actually played the Final Fantasy trading card game in the past, but I have played a lot of the Final Fantasy games. I do really like the series. I really like 10, and I think my favourite are 9, which is why I have these other Final Fantasy 9 VV sleeves, and I have these Final Fantasy 10, I believe it's Tidus and Yuna sleeves. So I do like these. The main reason I picked these up is because I ordered some cards online and they were sent in some sleeves for the Final Fantasy trading card game. I don't think it was either of these, it was like another one that they had. And I really just liked the way they look and felt. They're very glossy, they're not like matte in any way, the same way that kind of these Ultimate Guards are, or the Dragon Shields that I was talking about before are. So they're very glossy. They have this almost like mirrored like foil on the kind of inner back, which you can see around the edge of the card. I do like the way that it kind of stands out. These have a different issue on camera, which again is maybe not something that's gonna be a problem for you, but it's kind of an issue for me. So whereas these Ultimate Guards kind of have a lot of glare to where it's very hard to see, these tend to get like a streak of like the reflection of the light, which in some ways is actually better because you can see a bit more of the card, whereas these is kind of all over and it just makes the card very hard to see, whereas this, like I say, you tend to get a streak going vertically, I've found more often than not, down the sleeve, but then you can still see like the image a bit clearer around the edges of that kind of light streak. So again, that's only really something that's going to come up if you want to record footage of your games. But yeah, I've started using these sleeves again. I put them away for a while and was just using the Ultimate Guards. Well, I was using the Ultimate Guards and some other ones that I wanted to like test out. I kind of bought a bunch of sleeves of different brands, just to one pack of each, just to kind of try them out and see how they kind of felt. And after all that, ultimately I decided I prefer the Ultimate Guards, so I was going to stick with them. But I do like these Final Fantasy sleeves as well. These kind of do have a bit of the issue that I was talking about with the Dragon Shields, but almost for like the opposite reason. So the matte ones, it felt like there was too much friction, and that's why I had to like really force the cards together sometimes during the shuffle, whereas these feel almost like they stick to one another almost, or they're like just on the verge of sticking to one another. Like quite often when I go to draw a card off of these, I do find myself accidentally going to like draw 2 or 3 at a time. They do tend to, I don't know, it's with the glossy backs, I don't know if it just picks up like little bits of oil, natural oil that you kind of get on your hands as you play, and you shuffle your deck, and then the cards will kind of want to stick together slightly because of that. And these, in terms of like durability, I've not had the same issues that I have with the Ultimate Guards. Have had 1 or 2 split, but I think That was more when I shuffled, I caught like the corner of one went into the sleeve of the one below it and kind of caught it on the way out, and that's what caused the split, as opposed to these ultimate guards where it's just regular shuffling. That was the issue with these. These actually do seem pretty good from a durability standpoint. So I would actually also recommend these Final Fantasy sleeves, especially if you do like the Final Fantasy series, or if you just prefer more of like a glossy sleeve than a matte sleeve. These are ones that I really would recommend. I do like the kind of reflective thing around the cards. It gives like a nice border almost around the cards that you don't necessarily get with other kind of sleeves. So when I do use these Final Fantasy sleeves, with them being fully opaque, I tend not to double sleeve with these. I also think the reason I don't is because they feel like there's enough space at the top that I'm not too worried about like a drink getting spilled and like water going in there. I feel like there's a lot more space than on these ultimate guards. Like if I line up the top of the cards there, you can see the Final Fantasy sleeve goes up a lot higher than like the ultimate guards. So I feel like that extra little bit of a lip at the top does help with, I don't know, it makes me feel a bit safer using these without inner sleeves. Maybe I should just get in the habit of always double sleeving up my decks. In terms of, that's the other thing about these sleeves, is I've not had any issues with the artwork kind of scraping off or anything like that. That can sometimes be a problem with sleeves like this, where they have like a design on the back. Is sometimes through repeated shuffling they can kind of wear away. I've not had that issue. Like I said, I've not used these maybe as much as I have the kind of ultimate guards, but I have used them plenty of times in the past. They were my go-to sleeves for a little while there. I was using them basically every week, so I would recommend them. They feel durable enough. I've not had any major issues with them splitting or the artwork getting all scraped up or anything. So yeah, these are another good set of sleeves. I was maybe going to go through some of the other sleeves that I have, but to be honest, I'm not going to recommend any of them, so I think I should probably just leave it there in terms of sleeves and just talk about the ones that I maybe would recommend, which are these Ultimate Guards and the Final Fantasy ones we were just looking at, or these Final Fantasy ones.